Good evening, and I welcome you to your transformative program, Politics and Beyond. Today is the 1st of June, 2026, giving us another opportunity to have an interaction on a very important issue. It's not a strange issue, but very, very important. The reason why this is not strange and it is not new is simply because on this platform, your transformative platform, we've discussed it a few times. And I'm making reference to the flood. The rains are here again. Every year, it is becoming a norm in this country that the rains will come. We will not plan very well. Even if we do plan, we will not implement the plans. We have the policies, we will not implement the policies. We have the agencies and individuals who are taking care of these agencies to ensure that the right things are done. And these individuals who are being paid with our taxes fail every year to do what needs to be done. And so we are always in an era where we are activating what I always refer to as a reactive approach to these rains and to this flood. Meanwhile, because others are failing to do what they need to do, the ordinary citizen is the one who is suffering. Yes, sometimes we can say that the citizens can contribute to it. But mind you, it's not all the citizens. There are instances where the innocent ones are also affected. And that is why we are supposed to have policies. We are supposed to implement the policies. We are to make sure that we put in the right structures so that year in, year out, we will be able to resolve this issue known as flood or flooding that comes every year as a result of the rains that we have. Why is it that we are unable to plan for next year's rain, next 2 years, next 3 years, even this year, and say that between now and the next 5 years, we are going to ensure that no matter how it rains, we will not record any issue of flooding? This has been happening over the past years. And so this evening, our conversation is going to be on the flood. We want to find out the practical ways by which we can resolve this issue. And that's why tonight you are going to be my guest. We're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we'll activate not the phone lines, but we are going to activate the WhatsApp lines to start with as we go deep into this conversation. And at the right time, we will also activate the phone lines for you to call in and share your views on how best we can practically resolve this issue known as flood. I'll be right back.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. Natural mineral water. Simply natural. For bulk purchase, call 0596 273 546 or 0596 273 547. This advert is FDA approved.
If a cry na menyisika, etia ye mefui.
Ehinfa pa na menya bosia, edia tre medwuma yimu.
Kai kra mabre. Me busia ato taxi fufu. Suhum Rural Bank.
Suhum Rural Bank.
Yemamwa kwa baba Suhum Rural Bank. Ye won hye ahodo bi te se dwadifo abosia, ekokro bosia, susu account. And it does all savings account. Me bada chain savings account. And then the keka home. Suhum Rural Bank was 034229186. Now one so what to me aka say.
Suhum Rural Bank. Ama ene mayeka una.
Suhum Rural Bank. Enti me pa minie.
Me damwase.
Suhum Rural Bank, growing our heritage.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Emmanuel Jr. And as I indicated before we went on break, we are going to discuss the flood that we've been experiencing in this country over the past years, over the past decades. And this evening, our focus is on how best we can resolve this. We have engaged policymakers, we've engaged those who are supposed to implement and enforce the policies over the past years. But it looks like we are not getting the right solutions. And that's why this evening, this episode is going to engage you, the viewer. It is very possible that you, the viewer, may have some ideas and some knowledge, some proposals and solutions that the policymakers may probably not be considering. And so at the appropriate time, we are going to activate the phone lines and invite you to share with us what you think we can best do to resolve these flood issues that we've been encountering in Ghana, particularly in the capital, the Greater Accra region. Before the phone lines are even activated, you are at liberty to share your views through the WhatsApp lines that will be will be seen on the screen. Tell us how best we can resolve this. So tonight's episode is on why floods keep winning in Ghana, and that is very true. It looks like Ghana is not winning over the flood. The flood is always winning. And every year, as I said before we went on break, it looks like the rains dictates the pace. The rains tells us to park our cars. The rain tells us not to drive at certain places. The rain tells us that we are going to be choked or stopped at a certain place. And so the rain is always winning. Why is it so? Let's look at some historical shock. In the year 1958, when the rains came to Accra, specifically on the 14th of April, 1958, we recorded one of the heavy rains in this country, and it's resulted in some serious flooding. We had about 3.12 inches of rainfall recorded. Streets and homes were flooded. Obviously, Kwame Nkrumah Circle was gridlocked for 2.5 hours. And this was as far back as 1958. Residents waded through knee-deep water. And the key point, what I need us to appreciate, and the reason why I went far back as 1958, is that flooding is not new. It's decades old. Indeed, I can imagine the number of us who were born as far back as 1958. So this has been a problem that has been with us. Unfortunately, we have not been able to resolve it. And that is Daily Graphic that recorded it on the month of April 14, 19. In fact, this one is April 18, 1960. So 1958, we had that. 1960, we had another heavy one. And the Daily Graphic recorded it as when the rains came to Accra. You can see the pictures. I mean, that is the reality. 1958, 1960. Today, 2026, present day reality. There's flooding which is still occurring, and it is happening annually, as I indicated. We have increasing intensity and damages taking place, loss of lives and properties. Climate change is even worsening the situation, because now, because of climate change, you cannot even predict when the rains will start, when it will end. Not to talk of the intensity of it. That is the current situation we have now. But we, just like someone would say, we know all this. And so it is very important for us to go beyond what we know and start analyzing it. What has been the root causes of flooding that we've been experiencing in this country? We all know drainage has been one of the issues. So we've always had poor drainage systems in this country. Currently, as we speak, 2026, we are still constructing open gutters in this country. It is not very deep. It carries all the waste, the plastic, the rubbish, and all that you can think of. Indiscriminate buildings on waterways and it is so mind-boggling. The other day, I went through a place around Soweto or so, and I saw a structure in the middle of a gutter, a big drainage, and I was wondering how they were able to even build that. So indiscriminate building on waterways, that has been the norm. Weak urban planning enforcement, that has been also the norm. We have the planning, yet everyone decides to build anywhere and anyhow. We have that also. Poor waste management. It looks like that is one of the worst things that we can talk of now. Poor waste management. Then the other one, which I mentioned earlier, the climate change. That to a very large extent. Yes, we can control it, but not to a very, very large extent compared to the other four that I mentioned earlier. Poor drainage systems, indiscriminate building on waterways, weak urban planning enforcement, poor waste management. These four things are easily and can easily be implemented and can easily be corrected. Unfortunately, we live in a country where we know these causes and we encourage these causes to even develop and become stronger. Legal framework in Ghana. This is a country where you can talk of all the laws, fantastic laws, but when it comes to implementation, it becomes another story. So we have the Local Governance Act 2016, Act 936. We have the National Building Regulations. We have the Environmental Protection Agency Act. We have the National Disaster Management Act. The problem, I have always said it, we have fantastic laws that exist. The problem we have in this country is enforcement. We always know how to talk, and yet we don't know how to implement. We don't know how to enforce. Enforcement has become the problem. And so no one is going to argue and say that we need laws. We need to create new laws or develop new laws or pass new laws. No, we have them already. The challenge that we've always had in this country has to do with the enforcement. And that is where the unfortunate thing comes in. Look at the key agencies that are responsible for this enforcement. The first one is NADMO. And for some reasons, NADMO has just reduced itself to playing a reactive role. NADMO only comes in, or we hear of NADMO when there's a disaster, when there's flood. Before flood takes place, you will hardly hear of NADMO going around ensuring that the laws that governs them are being enforced. NADMO is one. Environmental Protection Agency is another agency responsible. The Hydrological Services Department is one other. The Metropolitan, Municipal, and District Assemblies, the MMDAs. And I have always said that the MMDAs seems to be sleeping on their job. They really don't even know the powers they have. Neither do they know what they are really supposed to do. And I question myself and I ask myself whether the MMDAs that we've been having over the past years, do we have them because they are qualified and they know what they are supposed to do? Or we have them just because it is more of a reward, political reward, to these appointees? So these are the agencies. We've gone through the laws. If the laws have not been enforced, these are some of the agencies that we can look out to and ask them why they are not enforcing what they need to enforce. Then comes the ministries. Ministry of Works and Housing is one key ministry. Sanitation, Water Resources, Local Government, Environment, Science and Technology. These are also the ministries that we have. What is hurting is the fact that both ministries and agencies are made up of human beings that, as I indicated, we are paying them with your tax, with my tax. Their duty is to implement. Their duty is to ensure that the policies and the laws that we have in the country are implemented. What is causing these ministries and agencies not to do what they are being paid to do? Look at the core problems. Very, very, very simple ones. 4 or 5 core problems. And that is That is the analysis that the team has made. And we are asking, where are the gaps? The first one is that there's a poor coordination between the agencies. That is one key issue. So this agency sits and says that it is the other agency that is supposed to do. The other agency says that it is that agency that has authority to do it. The other agency says it is the other agency that has jurisdiction to do it. And so they sit down and they are not able to be coordinated properly. And when they all sit, it is you and I, the citizens, that suffer. We lose our lives and lose our properties. And so poor coordination between agencies has been one of the key problems, the gap. The second one has to do with political interference. And I have said consistently, especially in this Fourth Republic, I remember very well when someone like Mr. Jerry Blanson was the mayor of Greater Accra and decided to do some demolition and put some things right. The then president and others called him and cautioned him and said that, look, we didn't make you a mayor so that you let us lose the next election. The mayor stopped his work. And it has been so. Under Atta Mills, we had the same problem taking place. Under Akufo-Addo, we had the same problem taking place. It has been so consistent when it comes to political interference. And that happens because politicians are scared that when they implement the laws fully, it is going to affect their next votes. And so they leave it. And year in, year out, we are recording loss of lives. We are recording loss of properties. We are recording things that affect productivity in this country. The other one is lack of long-term planning. We just can't plan as a country beyond short-term. It is mind-boggling. 1958, we encountered this. 1960, we encountered it. It has been consistent every year. Last year, we did. Last 2 years, we did. Indeed, last year, because of us knowing that we're going to record such, this platform, I think a month before, had a similar episode with some experts discussing how best we can take care of this flight. Unfortunately, a year on, we are here discussing the same thing again. So long-term planning has been a problem, and that has been one of the key things affecting us, creating the gap. The other one is corruption and weak enforcement, obviously. Then the very final one has to do with public non-compliance. I mentioned earlier on that aside the policies and the agencies, the ministries, the laws, citizens or some citizens are also to be blamed. It doesn't make sense that you go to a place somewhere around Adenta, just around the Catholic Church. I don't know the name of that place. Just after the Catholic Church, there's this building. It is right in the waterway. I think they've built it as an event center. And when it rains, you just cannot even drive through the road in front of that premises. And yet we have MCs, we have DCs, we have EPAs, we have NADMO, we have the ministries and all the agencies and the various persons who are supposed to ensure that we have the policies implemented. And not just Adenta. I'm sure when the phone lines are activated, you can also share and talk about your area. And yet, we have all these individuals and agencies, but the gap seems to be widening over the past years. But that's fine. Let's look at some best practices, global best practices. We can learn from other countries. So let's look at first Netherlands. This is a country that we can describe as using two key tools, engineering and policy. That is what they use. Engineering and policy was what they used in making sure that the flood that they were encountering or they were experiencing over the past years were taken care of. They built massive storm surge barriers, referred to as the Delta Works. They introduced room for the river policy. And for me, that is very important. Instead of fighting the water, they rather created space for it. And that is one thing we are failing to do as a country. We are not creating space for it. We are rather fighting it. And you cannot fight water. No, you can't fight the rain. You can't fight the river. You can't fight water. It will create its own way. And so if you come in between its flow, it will find a way of fighting you. The other thing that Netherlands did, they relocated homes from flood-prone zones. In Ghana, if there's any demolition, politicians will be scared. And so they will allow it to happen. And they'll just pretend to be demolishing some of the areas. When the people revolt, they'll just keep quiet because they are scared of losing votes in the next elections. They enforce strict zoning laws, no building on waterways. Unfortunately, in Ghana, it is free for all. You do anything and everything that you want. No one assesses whether it is waterway or not, even when it is so clear that this is waterway. Municipal assemblies that are supposed to enforce, NADMO, EPN, all the agencies and ministries that are supposed to enforce, they will turn a blind eye. And at the end of the day, it affects all of us. There was also continuous maintenance culture. It wasn't the reactive approach that Ghanaians or our leaders have always exhibited. They came up with a proactive approach. So they will not wait for it to happen before they look out for measures to fight it or to resolve it. They put in measures that will prevent it from happening. Now see how beautiful Netherlands is, a portion of it. You see, it is surrounded by the river, and yet you will hardly hear anything called flood. If they can do it, what prevents us as a country from also doing same? Let's look at another one, Singapore. Singapore, they also used two items: discipline, smart systems. How did they do it? They built wide concrete line drains across the city. They introduced Marina Barrage, known as, controls floods plus stores water. So those were the two things when they introduced the Marina Barrage, right? Right. So that is one thing that they did, Singapore did. The third thing, the Silton, drain maintenance. It is one of the things that we don't really know how to do in this country. We pretend to be the Silton, we pretend to be maintaining our drains. But unfortunately, we do the opposite. But notwithstanding, even if we are doing it, Singapore resulted to one thing, and that is called daily. So daily desilting and drain maintenance, they did that. Heavy fines for littering, and there was a strict enforcement to that. In Ghana, unfortunately, there's nothing like that. There's really nothing like that. We have the bylaws, as I indicated. Strict enforcement is the issue that we encounter. Then the last thing that Singapore did, integrated water into urban design, what they refer to as the ABC Waters program. Now look at how beautiful Singapore is. We have the rains taking place also there, but because they decided to put the structures in place, because they decided to use discipline and smart systems, they are able to have these things under control. Why can't we do same as a country? The final one I want us to look at is the USA, the United States of America. How did they do it? Installed high-capacity pumping stations, rebuilt levees and flood walls stronger than before, massive federal investment after failure, created, and that is the most important one for me, is so interesting, they created a central flood authority. You know what that meant? It meant that they were intentional. Central Flood Authority. And the focus was to ensure that they manage flood in the United States of America. Today, it happens. And those of you who don't have a better picture or view of America, it is a continent or a country that is surrounded by water. It is. and yet they are able to manage it. They are able to take care of it. What is preventing us as a country from going through the same? What is preventing us as a country from ensuring that the right things are done? The enforcement, the agencies, the policies, the ministries, we have all of this. And yet, as a country, we lack long-term planning. We are only planning for the next election and not the next generation. Because if we are planning for the next generation, we'll be making sure that there's strict enforcement and we'll be making sure that the right things are done. Unfortunately, that is not what we have in this country. It's sad. Let's go through some recommendations after going through these best practices, the 3 countries that we've looked at. Let's look at some recommendations that I want to bring on board before I activate the phone lines to engage you. Is it possible that we can enforce demolition of illegal structures? Is it possible that as a country we can invest heavily in drainage infrastructure? Because these are the practical ways by which we can take care of this every year flood, every year losing lives and losing properties. Can we introduce strict sanitation enforcement? The regional minister, the MMDCs, the local government ministry, NADMO, EPA, all of this. Is it possible that we can introduce strict sanitation enforcement? Because if we are able to do that, it will be one of the things that will help us. And that's why it has been christened the drastic actions. We need very, very drastic action because we are tired of recording this every year. It's as though, as a country, we don't have persons and we don't have individuals and leaders who can think beyond the short term. Can we strengthen institutional coordination? And remember, I made mention of that earlier on, that one of the problems we had is that these institutions that we have, they operate on their own without having a central coordinating system. So this one sits and says that the MCE sits and says that, well, this is a local government something. Local government sits and says that this is a NADMO something. NADMO sits and says that this is a regional minister something. And it goes on and it goes on. You say, well, this is EPA, who is supposed to do. Who is coordinating all these individuals? And that is one thing that we need to make sure that we are doing in this country. Strengthen institutional coordination. Then the other one, political will must override short-term interest. And that's one thing that kills us as a country. Short-term planning, short-term interest. What is that short-term interest? We went to the polls in the year 2024. 2025, we are in 2026. 2027, we are preparing to go into another election for 2028. So everyone is thinking of how best to win the next elections, instead of thinking of how best to protect the next generation. And that is the problem between leaders and politicians. Politicians are just interested in the next election, and that is all they are thinking of. Are we saying that as a country, we cannot think beyond the next election? We cannot think beyond short term and say that indeed we need to plan and make sure that the flood and the flooding that we've been having over the past years, we are going to resolve it. Final message. Then after I activate the phone lines because I want to hear from you. Flooding is not inevitable. It is so clear. And that one, everyone knows about it. It is just a governance and citizen failure. The rains will come. When we have governance working as it ought to, or what I best describe as good governance, and also having proactive citizens, we will surely be able to take care of this. Ghana can fix this, and that I have said consistently. We can fix it when we have bold actions, and that is what we need to do as a country. Bold actions. Ghana can fix this if we want to. Instead of fighting the waters, instead of fighting the rain, we should rather create avenue for it to pass. We need to create ways for it to move, just like Singapore and Netherlands did. And on the screen, you can see what is happening. And this is just an example of what we've been experiencing over the past years. Isn't this so sad? I mean, before 1958, we surely had flood. But at least I've taken you from 58 till date. And the system and the structure hasn't changed. It is almost always the same. What is even worse has to do with our highways, the road that we are constructing in recent years. You have road system that when it rains, the rain takes 2/3 of the road space. I just don't understand how we are able to plan this. Look at someone's room. The phone lines are activated, and you are at liberty to call in as we look at the videos on the screen, and call in and share your experience. But most importantly, let's see the solutions that we can also give as citizens, not necessarily policymakers, because this is sad and this is worse. In the year 2026, this is what is happening in a country called Ghana. How can we go beyond this? Why can't we learn from the best practices that we've gone through? Why can't we learn from all the other countries that we've got, at least Singapore, at least Netherlands? Why can't we bring in engineering and policy? Why is it so difficult for us to bring in discipline and smart systems? And why is it so difficult that we will be able to put structures in place that goes beyond just the short term? This is the country called Ghana, and that is all we know. I saw the minister, the regional minister, and I also saw my Manche and some other dignitaries going through the rains. And I was asking myself, is it that especially the regional minister, I haven't seen the local government minister, but I've also seen some of the MCs and DCs, some MPs. And I asked myself, is it that they didn't know that this was going to happen? What structures did they put in place? Are we not tired of seeing our leaders doing this kind of, I don't want to call it gimmick, but doing this kind of thing that brings no result, no practical solution? That we'll wait for the flood to happen, we'll wait for the rains to come, and then we'll be going around sympathizing. We'll be going around and now professing solutions. And when the rain stops, everyone forgets that there was anything called flooding in this country. The phone lines are activated, as you can see on your screen. But what is important for me is the fact that we need to have coordination between the various agencies that we have in this country. NADMO, Environmental Protection Agency, the Hydrological Services Department, Metropolitan, Municipal, and District Assemblies, the MMDAs. Most importantly, the ministries. Ministry of Works and Housing, Sanitation and Water Resources, Local Government, Environment, Science and Technology. What is happening to these agencies and what is happening to these ministries? Why is it that we will not be, or we are not able to ensure that these things are taken care of right from 58 to date? 58, 59, 60, just be counting it. All the way to 2026, we are still here. Just last year, we had this conversation, and we are still here discussing this. First caller, welcome to Politics and Beyond. Hello, caller. Your name and where you are calling from? Okay, I think I'm struggling. Do you have another call on the line?
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to Politics and Beyond.
Good evening.
Good evening. Your name and where you are calling from?
I'm calling La Soup.
Say it again.
La Soup.
+2.
Soup. S-O-U-P.
S-O-U-P. That's your name?
Yeah.
Okay. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Greater Accra.
All right. Go ahead. You can speak. If you
My
want to speak,
discussion-
you can do that.
That flooding where she's warring woman being at Ouija in the Greater Accra.
Yes.
The government will take care of that.
Mm.
Because We no get gutters in Accra here. We want big gutters in Accra. We want big gutters in Accra. Special gutters connected to Odona. You understand?
Yes, I get you.
So government will take that.
So that's right. So the gutters.
Special engineers.
That's right. Thank you so much. So your proposal is that we need to have big gutters, and I agree with you. And not just gutters. I don't subscribe to us having the open drainage and the open gutters that we've been having in this recent time. It just doesn't make sense to me in any way. Caller, welcome to Politics and Beyond. Hello, caller. Okay, so I think we missed the caller. This one says, good evening, Mr. Wilson. In fact, one major problem we have is that our engineers who supervise some road projects are really not helping at all. I was at East Legon just last week, just a little rain, and the whole Dua Road was heavily flooded. When I take a critical look at the situation, I realize that the drains are choked. Meanwhile, this is a newly constructed road. Who supervise such works? Our engineers are failing us. And this is coming from Reverend Justice Aposa from Ho. I agree with you, Reverend. Welcome to Politics and Beyond. Your name?
Good evening.
Good evening. Your
My
name
name
is
is Kofai.
Say it again.
My name is Kofai.
Kosai.
Kofai, yeah.
Where are you calling from?
Takrade.
Takrade. Kosai, go ahead.
So today I see that and all this thing happens. I think our leaders are helping us. And what I know in Ghana is that they think about their political party, not they think about how they will win election, not how to develop Ghana. That is why we are seeing all these things. I think when they think about Ghana, all these things will stop. All the political parties don't think about Ghana. Leaders, all the political parties, I will not mention one or two, all the political parties and the leaders that we have in Ghana here, they don't think about Ghana. Ghana, they don't think about it. They only think about how we can win this election.
That's true.
So to continue to experience all this because of their behavior, because of their thinking, we will continue experience. Look at the minister. He's going around. He's going out. Doing what? But what is he going to do? You should not do anything.
I
You
agree.
they will not do it. Mother,
Thank you so much. I agree very well with you, and I share in your frustration because that is what I have also been saying over and over and over. What is the use of us having ministries, having ministers, MCs, DCs, sometimes MPs? We are paying with our taxes, and all we see them do, and then NADMO, all we see them do is that when the flood comes, they go and wear Wellington boots, call the cameras for the cameras to follow them with umbrellas, and they are just walking around in the rain. What are they communicating to us? What are they telling us? You think that that is the reason why we are paying them with our taxes? Or they think that that is the reason why we appointed them? Or that's the reason why we nominated them to lead those agencies and ministries? No. We are paying them to give us solutions. That is the practical thing. We want them to give us solutions. We are tired of having our leaders being seen in the rains, wearing Wellington boots, having umbrellas on them, having cameras following them. Look at that. What is the essence of this? What's the benefit? Oh, it's gone. But you saw it earlier. Yes. What is the benefit of this? What are we supposed to gain from this? Didn't the minister know last year? This minister was appointed she's the first minister under this administration. So she's been there over a year. What planning did she do with the other ministers, like the local government minister, with the other MCs and DCs, the other agencies like NADMO and Co? What planning did they do? Didn't they envisage that such a thing will be happening this year? Or they didn't know that there's going to be rain today? They didn't know that there was going to be rain this year. Were they not the same persons giving permit to these individuals to be building in places that they are not supposed to build? So what is happening? What are we supposed to gain from this? The minister didn't know this. This is a shame. This is an absolute shame. And yes, I agree. I agree very well with Reverend Justice Aposa that the construction of road taking place now, I just don't understand what is happening. Who is supervising it? Maybe we'll take time to go through it in one of the subsequent episodes. But what is really happening? Go and see some of the newly constructed roads. It rains just not so heavy, just some little rain comes, and 2/3 of the road is flooded. The 2/3 of the road has been taken care of by the road. And you cannot even drive through it. What happens to us? What is happening to our leaders and what is happening to our engineers? This one says, good evening, Mr. Wilson. Our rain disaster management is very poor. In that June 3rd rain, that stormed, June 3rd rainstorm that hit Accra. I saw it coming again. In that Accra is a plain landscape and clay ground. This one says, good evening, Mr. Wilson. You didn't add your name, but this one says, good evening, Mr. Wilson. Thank you for a good work. Isn't it amazing that water is not flowing through our taps, but they opened the Wager Dam to flood people's houses? That's really another interesting thing. That is honestly another interesting thing. I'll come back to this message. Caller, welcome to Politics and Beyond. Hello, caller.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Your name and where you are calling from. And when you call, you're at liberty to indicate if you want to speak the English, the Twi, or the Ga. At least these 3 languages, you are at liberty to express yourself in. Good evening. Your name and where you are calling from. Hello. Can you position yourself a bit well? I'm not getting you. The line is so bad. Can you try again? Call again. Say, caller, welcome to Politics and Beyond. Hello, caller.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Your name and where you are calling from? You're from saying. Hello. Hello. Hey, what's happening to my lines this evening? Okay, do we have another caller? Caller, welcome to Politics and Beyond.
Hello.
Hello, welcome to Politics and Beyond.
Hello.
What's your name?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Okay, we have another caller. Welcome to Politics and Beyond. Yeah,
okay, so if you can't reduce the volume on your TV set, let me go to another caller. When you do that, you can call back. Caller, welcome to Politics and Beyond. When you call, good evening. When you call, reduce the volume on your TV set. Yes, me pacho. Udini baby akasefi.
Your friend is Sammy.
Sammy.
Mati,
meet you.
Your contractors and engineers no more trading. They were Ghana ham. Practical one, I'm in the near where I won't contact the Takradi highway now, just more air constructing. Gutters are for now. Or more air construction. Your friend saying, next channel to say concrete now, none a buona missing a year, man. Or move your or pioneer. Into which was in soon car, you piano, gutters are for free. Quite say still under construction. You didn't really pine Nankasano. Not Sano Manako Shinuma, gutters Nankasano. I took already. And she said, area near the beer ensure at our Fawaka. Don't say, ensure to be on not ensure for mine.
That's very true.
He said, or more to me, every materials no good beer. And to question that is among Yanisa.
They're very true, pan. They all can no crepe. I know you're doing. Just, I think somewhere last week, me coffee as painters. Baby, I'm a coffee, no musi dying. Now, almost the chippings, netie, ne other things. I be go half of the road in front of. And I know musi is just by the roadside. Half of the road, no, has been taken by this. And I'm some de be go hono. I could go gardening, just like you are saying. So, a chalky gatan, and I was asking myself, say, Where are the enforcers in that area, the municipal assembly? They are supposed to be going around to enforce these things. You don't have any liberty to put these materials on the road, middle of the road. And yes, a road that road that cars efaso. A choky and a takey part of the gutter because it is an open gutter. But what is really happening to us as a country? What exactly are they thinking about? And how are they not able to think beyond just the immediate? For them to implement the policies and the laws that we have. And all they are interested in is the media fanfare. Flood basi, near Shell Wellington boot, ye kind of saying, umbrella, ACT, near the Nenamuseum with police, near the camera DH. What is the impression? To create an impression, say, yeah, Juma. That is not the kind of work we are expecting as Ghanaians. We are sick and tired of this kind of media fanfare. Per solutions. Lives are being lost. Properties are being lost. Videos are shared. If they are not supposed to build there, who gave them the permit to build there? And if they are supposed to build there, on what authority and on what ground did we allow them to say they should build there? Now your name say a waterway, Anna. These are the practical questions we need solutions to. And not from 1958 every year to date we are having this situation. What is really happening in this country? Anyway, so as I was saying, do we have a caller on the line? Caller, welcome to Politics and Beyond. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Yes, your name and where you are calling from.
My name is Kofi Asante, calling from Pasha in Nigeria.
Okay, Kofi, please go ahead.
What I also observe is that it's about the development of the other regions. You see, it has become like only in Accra they intend to develop. So everybody wants to have a house in Accra. So they all insist they should build in Accra. That is why the flooding is going like that. Like these other regions have their development. I don't think everybody will be running to Accra to go and stay there. So well, that's my observation.
That's also true, Kofi. That makes a lot of sense. I agree with you that, So to me, it moves some of the developmental projects to other regions. Accra will not be so choked. But notwithstanding, we have laws in this country. Into whether there are a lot of people in Accra or we don't have a lot of people in Accra, it doesn't allow the law enforcers to give green lights to people to be building in places where they are not supposed to build. Look at that. Look at someone's house. It makes absolute no sense. Let me just say it. Caller, welcome to Politics and Beyond.
Yeah. I want to contribute.
Please contribute. Reduce the volume on your TV set.
Yeah, I reduce it.
Go ahead. Your name and where you are calling from.
I'm Ralph. I'm calling from Kaswa.
Please go ahead. Kaswa, they say, how do you say na famu inako?
Kaswa. Oh, me fear over the I am my good form no. To me, so it's like that.
Sorry, please go ahead.
Yeah. But what I want to say is that you see, Ghana kasa no. Ya kasa na ye na issue e ba ye dem. Issue ekoye fie no gutters na hono se gutter bi etitua o e small unfa gutter no ani ya toki plastic rubbers issue to a obi bi e wo na odi bona agu iso no we ubri mu government ubri minister ya kasa na ye o my brother ya kasa na ye enye iso de better. So no matter how you got this, by all means, show the better. Now you shouldn't do it. No, a do overflow. Now you should know a fagot. I would not got a clear. About famous are now got a new Tokyo. It's so not about different place. One of us, from our accident or waterway. It's no matter how, it doesn't almost see one waterway. Ebe blockation. It is so different place. When your government assemble and your minister be assemble. Yeah, makwa ya body obi akọ bedi we no waterway. Or bedi suwa ye ko bubu suwa adaga na kwa we wa sexika o ye obi dia o mobo government we or who nipa mobo we wa sexika yeah o dey kan
Mate, Medasepa.
Yeah, kaka na ebeka. TV station. Martinia, susu bisa omu se. Nipa na obedo wo ho se se ti ayeko bubu a. Ye wusu beka se ade na omu che kakra, wu beka wu a otuti wo. U beka. Ana u ka so mi abi beka.
Mate, Medasepa. Thank you so much. So, Medase. So just like I was saying, you know, policy makers, citizens, you contributed to it. But you see, in as much as citizens contribute, I'm not the type of person who will always blame the citizens because as human as we are, when you leave human beings to be themselves, there's absolute tendency that they would exhibit indiscipline. And that is why in every jurisdiction it involves human beings, we have laws. And laws are supposed to be enforced. Even in your own family, you, your wife, your children, you have laws in the house. Just because a law is anywhere in Kolano, Anawo, Yure will abuse and do things that affect the family. So laws are there. As a country, we need to enforce the laws. Ghanaians, the ordinary Ghanaian and the average person, or the ball abegu insume. And that is why we have bylaws a trace so the ball egu insume to see a chill. The question is, so the ball egu insume to say a chill because they are being paid by our taxes to take care of that. Into but yes, I agree. Government has a role to play. Citizens have a role to play. Law enforcers have a role to play. Policies have a role to play. Institutions, ministries, agencies, they all have roles to play. You saw the video before, the last video. And it was, if you look at it very well, this is a road though. Road that you are constructing. Road has been constructed by you and I, Yesika, and a road. Your Ministry of Road, Highways, you all the engineers. And yet, you are constructing road and so toy and share into a good road. So, what happens to the drainage? Gata to say take care of that in a way. This is not like an untarred road. It is not like a location beer which has not been taken care of by government. This is a road, a constructed road in this country. And look at the insua toy and a good road in the so. And tomorrow, the police will arrest these drivers and tell them, say, Omu road worthy, Omu kani nye papa. We're always talking about roadworthiness to our cars, but we are not checking out whether or not the car, whether the road is also good for the car. We want the car to be good for the road, but we don't ask ourselves whether the road is also good for the car. This is the country we find ourselves in. Ochina, who the law enforcers are you to Wellington boots, and they'll be walking around there with cameras. I don't know what they intend to achieve. Instead of them giving us proactive solutions, next year it will be the same thing. Just as it was last year, just as it was in the year 1957 or 58, 59, 60, all the way in the 90s, 2000s. Here we are, 2026. This is what we are recording in this country. Anyway, this one says, good evening, Mr. Wilson. Good. Thank you for a good work done. Isn't it amazing that water is not flowing through our taps? Okay, but they opened the Wager Dam to flood people's house. Can they find investment to convert those waters to usable ones? Well, you didn't add your name, but unfortunately, that is the kind of leaders we have in this country. The leaders we've been having over the past years. Instead of them thinking outside the box, no, they will not. We believe in reactive approach instead of proactive approach. We believe in wastages as a country, and that is what we are so much interested in this country. I have said, even on this platform, that you go to a country called Rwanda, And we always hear that their capital, Kigali, is the cleanest in Africa. Because why? People don't litter. But I say that, yes, people don't litter because structures and systems have been put in place. When you go to a place called Kigali, maximum, every junction that you meet, we have dustbins. So when you have a waste in your hand, you are not encouraged to throw it away because you know that it won't be a burden. The next junction you get to a better place where you can dispose it of. So yes, citizens are not littering around, but government also had a role to play by putting in the right structures. And that is what has made that city the cleanest city in Africa. What is happening to us in this country called Ghana? Anyway, let me go back to one or two of the messages. This one says that, this is coming from Musa Kofroida Sentimental, one of my constant testers, just like Apostle or Reverend Justice Aposa from Ho. This one is, so Musa is from Kofroida Sentimental. Good evening, Mr. Wilson. In fact, though we are always saying, one, building on waterways causes flood or flooding. Two, sanitation problem is also among. But are we also doing the right drainage system? The answer is no. Mr. Wilson, JDM constructed gutter from Nima 441 to Mamobi during his first term in 2012. If that type of drainage system can be built in any waterways, it will be helpful. I agree. The drainage system has been one of the biggest problems we have in this country. Why do we even construct open gutters? Who does that in this modern time? And the gutters are not even so deep. They are not so deep. So the little sand that gets into it, the little waste that goes into it, it is choked. And it affects everyone. It affects the community. And it affects even the innocent who may not even live in the community. So yes, I agree with you, Musa. Mr. Wilson, where is the report on June 3rd disaster? June 3rd disaster. Sorry. He says, okay, Mr. Wilson, where is the report on June 3rd disaster 2015? Have we implemented it? The recommendation that the committee gave, have we solved the problem about flooding in Ghana? We are not serious as a nation, period. I mean, yes, a reasonable person has the right to make this conclusion. Because why? Those recommendations, what has happened to it? The flooding disaster that took place, Circle or Donna, those of you remember, there was a committee. They came up with a report. Recommendations were made. What has happened to that recommendation? These are practical questions. Mr. Wilson, where is the Kole Lagoon project that the MPP NDC proposed that is going to be a game changer? We are failing as a nation. You didn't add your name. Mr. Wilson, it just appears our MCs and DCs pretend to be solving the problems, but the reality is that they are playing politics with us. We, the citizens, too, have problems complying with the registrations. We need change of attitude, and this is coming from Reverend Justice Aposa. Reverend, as for the MCs and the DCs, they are the very first persons or entities that are held responsible because they represent what we call local governments. And so the vicinity, the district, the municipal that is being flooded, that we are seeing on the screen, they are supposed to be in charge of this municipal. They are supposed to be in charge of this assembly, this district. And so if things like this are happening, the first question we should be asking is, where are they? Is it that they are not competent? Is it that they just don't know what they are about? What exactly is the issue? Good evening, Mr. Wilson. I'm enjoying the program. It is a typical Ghanaian thing to wait until disaster strikes before taking action. I was something when the Wager MP was walking in the flood waters, entering people's houses just to show he cares. Very funny. As if he didn't know that this will happen. Honestly, for me, well, I don't want to profess anything, but it is one of the highest of insults to have our leaders coming to these areas after the disaster has taken place. What are they doing? That is not what we are interested in as a country. And if I was the president or the one who appointed these individuals, especially the MCs and DCs, one of the yardstick would have been that if flood takes place in your district, you'll be fired. That should be one of the KPIs. You know, that should be one of the standards. But unfortunately, it has been year in, year out. Next year, I'm sure we'll experience a similar thing, and we'll have our leaders wearing Wellington boots. We'll have our leaders wearing raincoats. We'll have our leaders being flooded by the police and their bodyguards. They will call in the media to follow them. They will also have umbrellas on them, and then they will be seen in the rains. And for me, as I indicated, I just don't know what the purpose is supposed to be, what it is supposed to achieve, because that is exactly not what we intend it to be. Good evening, Mr. Wilson. I'm enjoying the program. It's a typical Ghanaian. Okay, so I have gone through this one. And this is coming from Pius Blay in Kaswa. Good evening. My name is Peter Ninote Loko from Osu. What I have experienced under these two political regimes, under two political regime, one is proactive in solving drainage system, and another is good. We have okay. It's not so clear. Local, if you can send your message again. Let me take the very last caller. Caller, welcome to Politics and Beyond. Hello, caller. Oh, unfortunately, I missed the last caller, the one I wanted to be the last caller. I missed him or her. Okay, so this one says that, good evening, Politics and Beyond. Okay, Peter sends it again. Let's check out all Accra mayors who have been appointed by any government, and let's check their records under every party. Okay, yes, the mayors also have an issue, and that is also one key thing that we need to look at. That is the unfortunate thing we are having in this country. I'll go through the solutions again, and it is interesting that when the phone lines were activated, including the messages that have come and the others that I've not been able to read, there seems to be some solutions being given. The question is, those that we are paying with our taxes, what is preventing you? What is preventing you from ensuring that the right things are being done? I think at the appropriate time, I'll be inviting, or I'll have audience with either the regional minister, the local government minister, NADMO, all the relevant agencies, and we'll have this conversation because we are tired. Ghanaians are tired. You and I are tired. If it is not affecting our leaders or some of our leaders, at least you and I, it is affecting us, and we are tired. The other thing that is worse is that despite the road being flooded, you drive through and you don't even have anything called street lights. So Accra, and I believe some of the other major cities across the country, is dark. You are driving. The road you are driving on has been taken by the rains. 90% has been taken by the rain. You are struggling to drive through it because you don't even know where the potholes are. Because typical of Ghanaian roads, Accra roads, Kumasi roads, and all the major roads, we don't have smooth road. Potholes are there. We are driving through it, struggling with the rains, struggling with the flood, struggling with the pothole, and worse off, we don't even have street lights. What kind of country is this? How can we say that we have leaders who care and they really care for us as citizens? I'll go through the recommendations again, hoping that we'll be able to have this done, because I know that most of our leaders listen to this show, Politics and Beyond, and so they will take a cue from it and know that your citizens are not happy. First one, enforce demolition of illegal structures. We need to do this. And don't be scared and say that if you do the right thing, you are going to lose the next election. Let us go beyond just winning the next election. And let us protect the future of this country. That is what Politics and Beyond is all about. Taking care of the next generation instead of taking care of the next election. So let us enforce demolition of illegal structures. Let us invest heavily in drainage infrastructure. We need that. We really need to do that. Let us introduce strict sanitation enforcement. We have the bylaws. What prevents us from enforcing it strictly? What prevents us from enforcing it? The fourth one, and that I have also said so many times because I took my time to go through it. Let's strengthen institutional coordination. The era where all these institutions are there folding their arms, and this one says that it is institution B that has jurisdiction to do. This one says it is institution A that has jurisdiction to do, and other. I have taken my time, especially with this street light. I've taken my time to engage some policymakers. And when you go to the MC, he says, no, it's not our duty. It is the duty of the roads ministry. When you go to the roads ministry, it is the duty of this, it is the duty of that, and all that. What is happening to us as a country? Don't you, and I'm making reference to you, the leader, you, the ministers, the DCs and the MCs, NADMO chief executives, and whatever titles you give to yourselves, don't you feel for the citizens that are you being paid using the citizens' taxes? Don't you feel for these citizens? Why can't you just protect them for once? Can't we plan beyond the short term for once? And very importantly, is it possible that we can plan beyond the short term? Can we have a long-term policy? Can we come out with a policy? It can be a central or a flat central authority, and its mandate is to develop. But I believe strongly that we have that policy, we have that document in this country, that we can say that in between now and the next 10 years, flood will be a thing of the past. A tester talked about the Wager Dam, that every year it spills and we have to open it and it floods. And yet we struggle to have water flowing through our pipes. What is happening? Is it that something is going on that is beyond the leaders that we, the citizens, don't know? But whatever it is, if it is beyond you and you can't come out with practical solutions, then it simply means that you are not fit to be the leader. And that is why it is important for us as citizens to start saying that enough is enough. If there's flood in your area and you see any of your leaders coming there, whether it's a minister, whether it's a NADMO, whatever, whoever it is, when they come, tell them that you expect them to do the right thing and not for them to come and sympathize with you and have media fanfare with cameras following them. What is the essence and what is the purpose? Didn't they know last year that we'll be where we are today? Oh, or they don't know that next year around this time we'll be the same place? What plans and policies are they putting in place to ensure that between now and next year, if we don't even eradicate or we don't prevent absolutely, we'll be able to reduce it significantly? That next year we'll say that yes, there was flood, but the flood as recorded compared to the previous year being now this year, there has been a significant improvement. These are the practical things that we expect to have happened. I appreciate each and every one of you who shared in your views and your comments. I want to make this announcement, and if my producer can put the picture on the screen, it has to do with someone who is missing. And I want you to help us find the person. Her name is Dinana Aku Vanderpoy. The number to call is 054 58 40727, or you can WhatsApp 027 26 00282. This woman, elderly woman, has been out of the house for some time now. She lives in Osu, and she left the house as far back as July 2025. So next month will be 1 year She's beyond 80 years. She's 90 years, a very elderly woman. Please, if by chance you have seen this picture or this woman anywhere, kindly get in touch with the numbers as exhibited on the screen. And you will be really, really appreciated. This is a social corporate responsibility, if I'll put it that way, from politics and beyond. And so I am praying that we'll be able to find this woman for her family. Thank you so much. The number is on the screen. If you miss this number and you still have the WhatsApp line for politics and beyond, when you see this woman, please just send the communication and her family will be informed. And as I indicated, you'll be appreciated rightly. Thank you so much. All too soon, this is where time will allow us. I believe that we've had a very fruitful conversation, as we've always been having. There's one thing that came to my attention today, and I think it's of interest, that we are waiting for cabinet. I mean, cabinet has actually approved. I think that is the information I got. Let me be very clear on it, because it is something that is dear to my heart. I believe next week we may go into it. It says that cabinet approves the bill that makes MMDCs to be elected, for it to be laid in parliament before the end of 2026. Remember, there was going to be a referendum under Akufo-Addo, His Excellency, when he was the president, whether or not Ghanaians wanted MMDCs to be elected on partisan lines. And institutions like mine, Crusaders Against Corruption, stood against it strongly and said that that referendum is just going to be a waste of the taxpayers' money, because there has been, per the first Constitutional Review Commission's report, which was done under His Excellency the late President Atta Mills, majority of Ghanaians said that they wanted MMDCs to be elected, but not on a partisan line. And so we stood against His Excellency Akufo-Addo coming out and telling us that we should have a referendum on whether or not we want it to be done on partisan line or not. Fortunately, it was dropped. Today, we are being told that that issue has come up again, but this time it's not going to be on a partisan line. And that is exactly what Crusaders Against Corruption Ghana we were advocating for, that MMDCs should be elected, just as we are electing the assemblymen, not on partisan line. Cabinet has approved the bill, and it's going to be laid before Parliament before the end of 2026. All things being equal, we'll be having our MMDCs elected. The hope is that this time, when they are elected, we'll end up having the right persons representing governance at the local level, where we will not be giving MMDCs positions just because they shouted the loudest during a campaign of any political party. But we are going to have MMDCs elected because they are competent, and that is the most important thing that we need to have. And so this is a good news. I believe subsequent episode will go into this and will let you really understand what it all means. That's the good news I wanted to bring to your attention, and that is what we are going to do. I am happy that we've come to the end of this program, even though I wish we would continue and continue. But I believe we've learned a thing or two. The focus has always been protecting and building a better future for the next generation. And that is what Politics and Beyond is all about. That is what Emmanuel Wilson Jr., your host, is all about. Let us go beyond the partisanship. Let us go beyond the next election to concentrating on the next generation. Posterity will be kind to us if we are able to do that. All too soon, this is where time will allow us. Till we meet again next week, I'm still your host, Emmanuel Wilson Jr., and all I can say for now is good night.